Hey guys, so unfortunately the Nets lost this series in 5 games, and that sucks and all, but there are some positives to take away as Nets fans. I mean, first of all, we weren't even supposed to be here. We weren't supposed to be in the playoffs. I was hoping this series would at least go about 6 games. Some people said 7. Some people even had the Nets winning this series, as crazy as that sounds. And after the first game, you can kind of make the argument. I mean, we'll start in game one, obviously, when it was the first time like D'Angelo and Karras and Spencer, they all played really well at a high level, all in the same game. And when the Nets are doing that, they're a very tough team to beat. Obviously, you can tell that Joel Embiid was very hobbled in that game, but it didn't start out too great for us. I mean, Joel Embiid was just getting points at will. I think Jared Allen probably had like 4 fouls in the first half. We really didn't have an answer for him, but our play from our guards was so good that it really didn't matter. And also in game one, JJ Redick was just god awful. He had 5 points, 1 rebound in 23 minutes. He fouled out as well. Ben Simmons didn't have a good game either. He had 32 minutes and then 7 rebounds, 9 points, and 3 assists. So not really good for him. And Tobias Harris was off too. So Jimmy Butler was really he was killing us game one. He had 36 points, but other than that, no one on the Sixers really played particularly well. And of course, Embiid's minutes were limited because of the injury. So Embiid still put up 22 and 15 against us, but really didn't play all that much. So I mean, after game one, the vibes were good, and we thought that there was a chance that maybe the Nets take this series and that there's a shot. And I was one of those people. I was starting to buy in and say, hey, like there's a chance here. Now, going into game two, I was not confident that we were going to win because it's very rare for a 6 seed to win back-to-back games on the road to start a series. So I kind of had my expectations not as high as I did the first game, but the Nets put up a good fight in that game as well. So I believe at halftime we were down maybe like 1, 2, 3 points, and it seemed like the Nets had a shot to win that game. It didn't have a good feel to it. This was the game where Joel Embiid like elbowed Jared Allen in the face, and then some people thought it was a flagrant two. I mean, I really don't know what to think about that. I mean, I think they made the right call. It's kind of hard to throw a guy out because of that, because you can't argue it was a basketball move. I mean, we all know Joel Embiid's not the cleanest player out there, but it was a move that it was tough and it looked like it hurt like hell. But at the end of the day, you could say it was a basketball move. So I think they made the right call there, the refs. But this game was really highlighted in the third quarter when the Sixers outscored the Nets 51-23, and you just knew it was over from then. It looked like a game the Nets were going to be in. It looked like it was going to go down to the wire, and then Philly just came out and blew the doors off of the Nets and ended up scoring 145 points in that game. So it wasn't what you wanted to see. I mean, of course, the Nets really didn't have anyone that played very well that game. Trying to look here who played well. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie had 19 points. Karis LeVert had his quietest game of the series by far at 13 points in 20 minutes. Even Rondae Hollis Jefferson at 15 that day. Wow. Shabazz Napier 13 in garbage time, so that's cool. But for the most part, guys were not playing well this game. This was when the Joe Harris slump started. He had 4 points in 26 minutes. We saw some Sixers really start to play well. Ben Simmons had the triple double, of course. This is when Boban and Marjanovic couldn't miss from the mid range, and he was going to be a big problem for us the rest of the series, obviously. Joel Embiid, another double-double. Tobias Harris put up 19 in this game. J.J. Redick had 17. So pretty much everyone was getting their groove back for the Sixers, and it just was not a good game for us overall. But once again, I wasn't expecting to win that game, so I wasn't really disappointed. I was looking forward to going into Brooklyn Game 3 and seeing what kind of fight they were going to put up. But obviously that one was disappointing as well. So Game 3 was really weird, the way it went and everything. I tweeted it reminded me of the Game 7 against the Bulls in 2012, 2013, the first season in Brooklyn. Where there was a lot of anticipation and everyone expected the Nets to win this home game, and then they just come out flat and disappoint us all. So I mean, the Nets they did have a shot in this game. The Sixers had control for basically the whole thing. The Nets had a run at the end of the third quarter, I believe. They were down maybe 6 points or so, but they really couldn't cut it to anything less. This was the game J.J. Redick literally could not miss, and J.J. Redick looked like the superior player to Joe Harris, and Tobias Harris at 29 and 16 as well. So he had a monster game. This is when the game that Joel Embiid missed as well, and then Greg Monroe casually puts up 9 and 13 against us. But really, I think the whole thing was they couldn't contain J.J. Redick. That's really what killed them in this game. Tobias Harris wasn't missing as well. Ben Simmons put up 31. He barely missed any shots. I think he went like 11 for 13 at the foul line. I'm sorry if these stats are wrong. I'm literally just doing off the top of my head right now. But they all played well, the Sixers. You really can't complain. Karis LeVert was playing out of his mind for the Nets in this game. He was literally carrying them in the first half, slowed down a bit in the second half, but someone else needed to step up. D'Angelo found a way to score 26 in this game, and no one else really had a good game. Spencer Dinwiddie was really off in this game 3, I remember. DeMarre Carroll, Joe Harris, Kurucs. Kurucs had 3 points in 19 minutes. I mean, he was really not much of a factor at all. But yeah, it was a very disappointing game. And if you remember that Game 7 in 2013, whatever it was, 2012 against Chicago at home, must win, obviously. It had that same feel to it, just a very disappointing game overall. But hey, it's only 2-1 at this point. Still in Game 4 on Saturday, and I was feeling good about that one, but we all know how that one ended, so let's get into that one. So this game and that Mike Scott shot in the corner virtually ended the Nets season. I mean, we all know being down 3-1 is there's a very good chance you're not going to come back in this series. And it was a game we needed. That was the one the Nets needed to win to make this a legitimate series, and they just weren't able to pull it out. I believe Ian Eagles said the Nets turned the ball over 5 of their last 10 possessions. The Nets literally turned the ball over twice coming out of timeouts, and it was just awful. The last 2-minute report from the refs in this game was not kind to the Nets at all, but I mean, I hate to blame games on the refs. I really do. It's just like the Nets flat out were throwing the ball away at the end of the game. I mean, you can't fully put Game 4 on the refs. The Nets were just beating themselves. But what I like to see from at least Kenny Atkinson's standpoint is that Karis LeVert played 42 minutes in this game, and you rarely see that with Kenny Atkinson. Harris played 35, D'Angelo 37. I mean, you don't see him play his stars all that much. And Jared Allen probably statistically had his best game of the series at 21, 8, and 4. So that's always nice to see. Karis LeVert was going off, I think, in the second quarter or first quarter, probably the whole first half of that game. And, the Nets had a 2-point lead late. D'Angelo Russell, off the Jared Allen rebound, had the 3 from the left wing where he pump faked and got the guy going, and then he made the shot, put the Nets up 2, and then I guess the Sixers came back and just won the game because we literally could not inbound the ball cleanly and do our play. So it sucks the way that went, and it completely ruined my weekend, this game. I mean, this game was just so disappointing because I'm sure a lot of us Nets fans thought this was going to be a 2-2 series at the end of this game, and then we get beat by a guy who has like 5 emoji tattoos on him, and it's just terrible. Because on that play, I mean, I think the Nets played it perfectly. I mean, we saw Joe Harris played it perfectly. He saw the lob into Joel Embiid, came down, stripped the ball, and Embiid just basically had to dive out of bounds. I mean, not literally dive, but tip the ball out of bounds to Mike Scott, who just, he wasn't hitting anything the whole series, and of course that shot happens to go in, and it sucks at the way it happened. But if the Nets did play clean basketball and didn't turn the ball over in Game 4, they have to turn the ball over, obviously, but not in the crucial situations, then, hey, it's probably a 2-2 series, and who the hell knows what happens after that. But, once they went down 3-1, you kind of got the feeling it was over. But, knowing the Nets, you kind of had a feeling they were going to make a game out of this in Game 5, and that's obviously not what we got. This was the game as well where we had the fight between at first it was Embiid and Jared Dudley, and then Embiid kind of just backed away. He did the smart thing, and then Jimmy Butler came in and shoved I forget his name, Dudley, even harder. So, they both got ejected, and you kind of figured they were going to because the refs didn't want the series getting out of hand. There was some bad blood. There was some stuff said in the media about Jared Dudley, who was he, and then Ben Simmons being an average player in the half court, all that kind of stuff. So, the refs didn't want that to boil over and start a whole big thing, so they had to throw these guys out just to send a message. And as we all saw, the loss of Dudley for the Nets was bigger than what Butler was to the Sixers, because really Tobias Harris can make up for what Jimmy Butler does, but the Nets really don't have another Jared Dudley. You know what I mean? At first I thought it was a good move. Hey, obviously Jimmy Butler's a better basketball player right now than Jared Dudley is, but in terms of importance, and we even saw Kenny Atkinson mouth "we need you" to Jared Dudley when he was getting thrown out of the game. That basically told it all right there. And that's the young Nets were not able to close this game out. Who knows how different the game would have went in the fourth quarter if Jared was on the court. I mean, maybe these turnovers don't happen. So it's a big what if, but this whole game was just so disappointing and just a terrible way to lose. I mean, back to the Chicago series in 2012, this reminded me of the triple overtime loss. I mean, that game, I literally think I cried after that game. That's how much that one hurt. That was the Nate Robinson game where he just took over and I think scored 30-something on us. And, it was terrible. But yeah, I mean, this game did not have a good feel to it. And, You know, man, like after this, you kind of just knew it was over. But hey, we had Game 5, hoping we can make some noise, and let's get into that one. Well, as we know, Game 5 was basically over halfway through the first quarter. There was a point in this game where the Sixers were up 23 or 25 to 3 with like 4 minutes left in the first quarter, and the Nets really just came out. I can't even say flat. They literally came out like they've never played basketball before. I mean, they looked timid. They were nervous. They didn't know what they were doing. No shot was falling for them, and nothing looked smooth at all. Like it just looked like they didn't look like the real Nets. They looked like a team that was just confused and didn't know what was going on. It was very disappointing. I mean, this game was turned off by halftime in my household. I'm usually not the kind of person that turns a Nets game off early because of all the comebacks they have and stuff, especially in a playoff game. I can't remember the last time I turned a playoff game off, probably never. But when you score 15 points in a quarter, the first quarter, follow that up with 16 in a quarter, you kind of just realize, hey, it's not your night. And I had the game on in the background and saw Kurucs get ejected, so that was cool. But I mean, really, outside of that, there was nothing good going on for the Nets in this game, and it was just so disappointing. But really, the whole day, I was not excited for this game. It was kind of like, oh yeah, the Nets play tonight. Like, I wasn't pumped up for this at all. But to come out that flat in an elimination game, I mean, it was not what you want to see. I guess it's better than another heartbreaker, but like, man, there was just no fight at all in this game. Trying to see who played well in this game. I mean, of course, LeVert was doing his thing early on, and LeVert was having an average first half, but like he was still not even average. He was good, but he was still missing some easy shots, like everyone else was, except his were going in sometimes. I mean, D'Angelo Russell looked horrible. Spencer Dinwiddie looked horrible. Somehow Shabazz Napier had a double-double in this game. I guess that was just all garbage time, obviously. But yeah, I mean, Joe Harris just wasn't doing anything. Jared Dudley was scoreless in this game. I don't know if the crowd got to him. I doubt it. But Jared Allen, 8 points, 9 rebounds. So really, no one stepped up in this game. No shots were falling. I mean, Karras tried to do as much as he can, and even he wasn't that hot this game. But yeah, I mean, this series was just, it was weird because, you go up 1-0 and then you think, like, hey, like, we have a shot. And then before you know it, it's over in 5 games and you're not even the winner of it. You know what I mean? So to lose 4 straight games just sucks. Obviously, Game 4 was when this whole series was over. You kind of knew it at that point. And, that's one that you wish you had back. And, if you give Mike Scott that shot 10 times, maybe he makes it, like, 2 times. But that's the one he made it, so it is what it is. But, they were a bit unlucky. The ref screwed them in that game, obviously, but they also turned the ball over a lot. So, in terms of free agents for the Nets, and I'm not going to go into this too much, I just want to say who is a free agent. So, Allen Crabbe has a player option, which he obviously should opt into, where he's going to make $18.7 million next year. So, you'd think he would opt into that. DeMar Carroll's unrestricted. Jared Dudley unrestricted. D'Angelo Russell is restricted. Ed Davis unrestricted. Shabazz Napier, club option. Rondae Hollis Jefferson, restricted free agent. Theo Pinson restricted, and Alan Williams unrestricted free agent. So outside of really Russell and I'm trying to think who else. Russell, Ed Davis, Crabbe, and Carroll. There's really not Crabbe. Carroll and Dudley. I really think Allen Crabbe's going to get traded this offseason because the Nets want that cap space for a potential max contract player. And for the Nets fans who watch my videos, I'll definitely make a video at some point in the offseason about who the Nets should target and who I think they have a actual shot at getting. Because, a lot of people want to say, like, oh, we're getting Kyrie and KD. Like, I don't think that's very realistic because where the hell does D'Angelo Russell fit in that equation? You know what I mean? And I think the Nets' number one priority is going to be to re-sign D'Angelo Russell. So you can't forget about him, obviously. So I don't know when that video is going to be. Probably once the finals are over. But anyway, we'll see what happens with that. So thanks for watching the video. I'll talk to you guys next time. And obviously, sucks that we lost this series, but just to make it to the playoffs was cool. And then these guys at least get the experience, and we'll be back next year hopefully. So, but yeah, thanks for watching, guys.